Now, Bruins, Blue Jackets, the Bees have won 2 out of 3 this season. Game 1, Thursday, 7 o'clock Eastern. We're showing some goals, but also there's going to be some physicality, Kevin Weeks.
Yes, I think there needs to be, and I think both these teams are pretty similar in that they've got some big defensemen that can play physical. They've got forwards that are willing to play physically. I think for the Blue Jackets, their forward group is a little bigger, maybe a touch more robust in terms of their size, play a bit of that power game. But both of these teams are willing to play a power game and a cycle game. They both excel at the cycle. They're not only living off the rush, which is why both of them have moved on here into the second round. I think this is going to be a very, very intriguing and entertaining matchup.
Not going to be tiptoeing in the water here. I don't think so. I think it's knees deep right off the hop here. I really do. I think they're, the Columbus Blue Jackets have made a reputation as a team that can play a gritty style. If you want to play gritty style, they've got good third, fourth lines. I think they've got really good balance now. Now that Oliver Bjorkstrand has stepped up on that top line, their top 6 have got a mixture of skill and speed and size with Pierre-Luc Dubois. And then you've got this here. Like, this was something that we talked about for a long time in the NHL. Did you guys see that last night? Panarin and McAvoy going at it. And, this is a much smaller player on the left that's a goal scorer that says, I'm in. You want to go, I'm all in. And that said an awful lot. And then you've got Anderson on the forecheck. And you've got Foligno finishing off his checks as well. You've got some real good combinations right there. Atkinson, you can put Foligno anywhere. I mean, if it doesn't work out on the top 6, you can throw him down on the bottom 6. It doesn't matter. He wears a letter. He'd do whatever it takes. And at one point when they're looking for their identity down the stretch, he was a fourth-line player for them, and he would do anything. But in the playoffs, you got to win board battles. You're going to have some big wingers because guess who's stepping up on the left side? So a right winger, Josh Anderson, going to run into 33. Zdeno Chara a lot. And then you're going to have a chance to get your licks in on the smaller defenseman like a Torrey Krug. But you got to get them in when you get a chance in straight lines, and both these teams are going to play that way, I'm sure.
No doubt.
But who are the Blue Jackets? Because in this world, a day feels like a week feels like a month, maybe more, and they haven't played hockey in 8 days.
Uh-oh. That is fair. That is fair. But one thing that I will say about the Jackets, that is a long layoff. But Panger, as you pointed out, if you look at where they are in terms of longest ever in the history of the league. But as you pointed out, Panger, the big thing for me with the Columbus Blue Jackets, number one is just had that practice, which was a simulated game. But number 2, they just swept the best team in the NHL in the regular season, the President's Trophy winning team, and they did it very convincingly, I might add, save for period 1 of game 1 of that series. And as Nick Foligno was saying when I talked to him at Madison Square Garden, Nicky, hey, when you guys play your game, he's like, yeah, Weeksy, when we play our game, this is how we do it. We need everybody to buy in, and our young guys, and they all did. So the likes of Dubois, Werenski, we can go up Bjorkstrand, as you pointed out. A lot of those young players were willing to play the power game, and I think that's helped the Blue Jackets to forge that identity. And, I don't think if you were to talk to Jarmo Kekalainen, Brad Shaw, as we all do, anybody in their organization, they would say anything different. They're playing their style. They didn't get lulled into the speed trap and the skill trap that Tampa plays, and it was to their benefit.
We forgot about Boone Jenner and Brandon Dubinsky as well.
Yeah,
so there's some meat and potatoes there as well. But, I think Bruce Cassidy, going up against his old 67 teammate, Brad Shaw, by the way, he does a good job, too, of mixing things in. Played Toronto, fast team, transition team. Hey, David Backes had to check his ego at the door.
Yes.
Here's a proud veteran and a guy that wears a letter on his shoulder, and yet he wasn't in. Now, in a game, in a series like this, I think he'll maximize some bigger bodies, depending on how it goes. Everybody gets a feel for the first couple of games. But there's not a whole lot of time before you're out of it. So you have to make those adjustments rather quickly. I thought Bruce did an excellent job of making those adjustments against an unpredictable, quick, skill team like the Toronto Maple Leafs. And obviously they win in Game 7, but it'll be everyone aboard here on this one here because both teams are going to need I don't know what they've got on their roster, 24, 25, 26, 27, whatever. Yeah. But everybody should be ready to go because at a moment's notice, you're going to see a lot of banging and crashing in this one, I believe.
And we have names for this goalie matchup. Names that we know.
Yeah.
Different stories.
Totally.
But what do you think about the goalie matchup?
Tuukka Bob? We got names.
Bob, right? There we go.
Well, why would you? I think this is going to be a fun one.
Me too.
Tuukka Rask has proven to be resilient. Every time when he gets knocked down, every time someone talks well about him, it doesn't really matter to him. He just keeps an even keel. Bobrovsky's more on that. I think he plays more on that emotional side, maybe. You know, he sprinkles in such superlatives. I think Tuukka Rask is more of a predictable goaltender. If you're doing a scouting, you know, you're doing your scouting, your tape, and you've got your reel, and you're showing your players, and it's on a loop, I think you can maybe not pick apart, but find some areas of Tuukka Rask's game, because he does do the same things. He's a predictable goaltender. And over the course of 7 games, you're going to get a lot of the similar scoring opportunities, whether it's on the rush or a wrap play or through traffic. And Bobrovsky's a little different, because I think he's just a little bit more unpredictable. So when you think you might have high blocker, he'll lunge over there on one side, like, you know, or give you a glove and take it away. So I think that'll be a big battle in net for that one.
Yeah, you know, in the case of Bobrovsky, what's interesting about it is he was able to roar back and take over the league lead and have the most shutouts in the regular season with 9. And a lot of those came down the stretch. And I think that was reflective of how well the team started buying into defending in front of him, and then also him clicking onto his Vezina-type level of performance. But that save specifically was key, and that was in Game 1. And that's where he started to get that confidence in the second period in Game 1 after they were down 3-0. And he was locked in, loaded, and making a lot of those close-in saves. His reads were tight. His rebound control was excellent in that first round. You saw the numbers that he had. So the only 2-time Vezina Trophy winning goalie in the league right now is Sergei Bobrovsky. And you go up against Tuukka Rask, the winningest goalie in the history of the Boston Bruins. So for us goalie nerds, we can bring you in here too, because you know you might have a little goalie envy. But
He's got way too much hair.
Yeah, and it's smooth, and he's jacked. But for us goalie nerds, though, we love this matchup. Loving it.